So how do you start a fruit-based diet? I've been on a fruit-based lifestyle for 12 years. This started at the age of 19 whenever I transitioned to a plant-based lifestyle. And within a short space of time, I discovered the book, The Mucusless Diet Healing System, and I discovered the Raw to 4 community. And I started practicing eating lots of fruit. Eating fruit for breakfast was one of the first things I did. And from there, now at the stage 12 years later, this year, I've done over 230 days on just fruits and vegetables. Before I get into the topic of this video, I'd just like to share that I do have a free resource, a 7-day fruits, roots, and greens reset to help kickstart your weight loss journey. It's free. Check out the link in my description section below to get access to that. So the first part about transitioning to a fruit-based lifestyle is information and education. Because with information and education, this can help change your situation. For everyone that comes onto this lifestyle, it's not something that just falls upon people intuitively. For the most part, they have to learn, they have to study, they have to watch something to get them inspired, get them educated that they can actually do this, and just get them filled with the right knowledge and deconditioned from the society around us and the way everyone else thinks. Because this is like underground information. You have to go looking for this to find this. So the 3 books that helped me along my journey on this fruit-based lifestyle, one is The Mucusless Diet Healing System. Number 2 is the Raw to 4 book by Freely the Banana Girl. And number 3 is 80-10-10 by Douglas Graham. So these 3 books have had a massive impact on my life, and they are all great educators on this works. Arnold Dare is an absolute OG. I need to pay homage to him a lot just because he was one of the early members of this, and I don't think he has worldwide recognition, especially in the plant-based movement, where he's like the pioneer. He's like one of the great pioneers back in the day. So those are 3 books that I recommend. So the next step is to change your social circle. You don't have to change your immediate social circle, but change your online social circle. Whenever I first started this lifestyle, I was the only person doing it. I was going through health issues and challenges, but I knew I had to move in this direction and I was willing to make the progress. But trust me, it would have been so much easier if I had people online who I was communicating with, chatting with, who had been doing this for far longer than I have. So it helps tremendously to surround yourself, even if it's just online or with mentors and coaches, with people who are living the lifestyle that you are now embarking on. When 2 or more agree on a common goal, nothing is impossible. So find a friend who wants to go on a 30-day challenge doing, say, a mucus lean, as Arnold Dare would call it, or more like a Raw to 4 fruits, roots, and greens style, where you're doing fruit all throughout the day, potatoes and vegetables in the evening. Find someone who can embark on this journey with you. It's going to make it a lot more fun and a lot more achievable. So a good template for this is big fruit meal, okay, 1,000 calories, and then dinner, veg meal with your starch meal, say another 1,000 calories, right? You may need more. You may need more, okay, on both ends of this, right? But if you want to split the fruit meal, you can do 2 big fruit meals. That's a lot easier for you to get it in. And then a vegetable and starch meal, preferably potatoes, sweet potatoes, pumpkins, and squash, just because they're a lot closer to a fruit than is grains and flour foods, etc. So they digest a lot better. Go for something like that. So 2 big fruit meals and dinner meal, veg meal with your potatoes, sweet potatoes, etc. So number 3 is that you want to buy food in bulk. Instead of just buying 3, 4, 5 bananas, buy a whole box of bananas. Instead of buying 1 small packet of dates, Buy a 5 kilogram box of dates. Get 6 kilograms worth of dates, right? Instead of buying one punnet of grapes, buy 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 punnets of grapes. Instead of buying a small 1 kilogram, 2 kilogram bag of potatoes, buy 5 kilogram bags of potatoes or more. You need to surround yourself with an abundance of fruits and roots if you want to succeed on transitioning to a fruit-based lifestyle. Because initially, the volume that you are acquainted to whenever you're consuming a lot of animal products and a lot of oil and a lot of refined foods is going to be a lot smaller because they're more concentrated in calories, especially dense fat calories, than say clean, high carb, low fat, oil-free foods. So get enough food so that you have an abundance of options in the house, so the choices are easy to make. So another side tip is don't be afraid of store-bought smoothies and juices. Get a couple, liters of juice. Get a couple liters of smoothies to have on the go. I know some people, don't have blenders coming into this. Get some store-bought juice. It's all good. It is all good. Just make sure there's no added, nasty stuff. Just make sure it's just fruit in there. And go from there. This is really handy if you're out on the go, if you're just maybe a bit tired or run down, you kind of make a smoothie, etc. Or you just need a bit of pep, you want some juice, etc. Get that. That's far better than snacking on a bunch of junk food that you normally would be whenever you're not doing a lifestyle like this. Get used to using low-fat sauces. So at the first stage of my journey, I wasn't really concerned about sodium intake or whether this had a little bit of vinegar, etc., or these sort of things that I tend to focus on now. I didn't really worry about that. I was just focused about getting in the door, get in the door. So initially, things like ketchup, sriracha, soy sauce, gluten-free soy sauce, I think I even used the barbecue sometimes, and sweet chili, and salt, seasonings, herbs, etc. Low-fat sauces, especially for those who are on a weight loss journey, low-fat, oil-free sauces are the best way to go. Whenever you become a little bit more advanced or your system gets a little bit cleaner and it's calling for you to go to the next level, you want to try to avoid sauces that have a lot of salt and sauces that have a lot of vinegar and any sort of ingredients that you're not vibing with. Generally speaking, I just lemon juice and tomato-based sauce is what I use now. A lot of the times where I make, mix up some herbs and seasonings and stuff like that, or make my own pea sauce, pea and lemon, or things of that nature. But at the beginning, I can understand you're new. You just want something that is nice on your dinner, salad or potato starch dish in the evening. So just find any low-fat sauce free of animal products and go from there. You also want to aim for the RDA. If you ask anybody who initially is transitioning to a fruit-based lifestyle or is helping other people transition to a fruit-based or even whole food lifestyle, a very common sticking point, and listen in, a very common sticking point is people do not eat enough. And the main reason is because of this volume, because it's so dilute in calories, you're not used to eating this much volume. So you almost have to overcome this mindset of I had three bananas, 5 bananas, that's a lot, isn't it? It's no, it's not. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. 7 bananas, go for a meal. 8 bananas, go for a meal. 10 bananas, go for a meal. So use apps like Chronometer, where you can track how much you're eating in a day. A lot of people are using Chronometer to try to get in a calorie deficit. However, whenever you're transitioning to a fruit-based lifestyle, the end game is you being on a mucusless diet where you're living on fruits and greens. At that stage, you don't have to track anything apart from making sure you eat enough, because no one is getting obese or overweight on just fruits and vegetables long term. That is not happening. Nature does not allow that, right? Nature doesn't allow that unless you've got some rare condition, rare case thing. But, it's so rare. I don't think I've seen a single case like that, where someone is like obese on fruits and vegetables. Or really, really overweight on fruits and vegetables. It's just not common. And if it is, it's very, 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 very rare. And I think someone may just have like a very unique body type. So don't worry about that. You're not going to get fat on fruit. The RDA is 2,000 calories for females and around 2,500 for men. Again, you may need more depending on your activity levels. Some people can get away with maybe slightly less, but that is a good ballpark to aim for. The last tip is to adopt a transition philosophy whenever it comes to your progress, right? See yourself doing this for the long run. This isn't just like a little 30-day sprint where you do it and then you can go back to animal products, processed foods, and all this stuff, right? See it as a never-ending progression towards the ideal, which is a mucusless diet, which is a diet based on fruits and greens. Doesn't matter how long it takes you, just keep moving in that direction. There is no failure, there is only feedback. If you keep progressing, if you keep learning, the parts where you fall off, where you stumble, you will start to notice that as your system gets cleaner, if you deviate, it hurts. It hurts. Eating like, a McDonald's after you've been doing like 6 months on clean oil-free foods, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna be like, ugh. It's not gonna feel great. Your system will have adjusted to a new level of vitality, and you deviating will rock that balance, and you'll want to sort of return back to that higher vibrational state that you were in. And this is a good thing. So allow yourself that sort of transition philosophy and not beating yourself up along the journey as you progress to eating cleaner and cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. And something that I wish I had learned at the very beginning is that once you are stable, so once you are able to practice, say, fruit for breakfast, vegetable and starch for dinner, once that's comfortable for you, you're getting enough calories, you're doing all these other steps, you're well stocked. Once that's comfortable, your body's like, okay, we got this, we have this nailed. Start adding one day where you're living on just fruits and vegetables, whether raw or cooked. One day, whether it's smoothies all day, or smoothies and a fruit meal and a veg meal, or all cooked fruit and veg day, whatever it is, one day where you're just doing fruits and greens, and then return back to your regular plan of fruit and then veg and starch. Do that, because what that'll do, that'll start training you in being able to handle a day where you're just on fruits and greens. And make that a lifestyle, do that for a year, and then go from there. So again, thank you very much for watching this video in regards to how to transition to fruit-based lifestyle. It's truly changed my life, and it can change yours. So again, if you want a free resource on transitioning to a fruit-based lifestyle, starting to lose the weight, check out the link in my bio for my 7-day free fruits and greens reset. I'm out.